Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to be back with you here. The Brown Beauty is back on duty, and of course we are red hot and rolling here on the Jesse T Show. I've got to do a couple of things here as we kind of hook ourselves up and get going. Saying hi to everybody who's on with us, and of course the holiday season is coming up here. We are always hooking things up as we get the show going here. The Jesse T Show every day of the week from Monday through Friday at 5. Starting at 5 and going till 6, 1 hour of yours truly. Yeah, that's right, me, Jesse T, doing it the way I do it, the only way I can do it, and that's the world according to Torrero and getting straight on the point. So we're hooking up our Instagram friends right now at Instagram Live, Jesse Torrero, and we've got our Instagram group on right over here, and we have our Power of Voices group on right here. Power Voices on Facebook and Power Voices on YouTube, as well as Power Voices on www.thepowervoices.com. Something we don't talk about. Hey, David Beast Douglas is on. You're going to be on the show. Big David, you're going to be on the show here coming up here tomorrow in studio in Los Angeles. David the Beast Douglas, one of the very best power lifters in the world. He's got a big match coming up at the LA Fit Expo coming here in January, and he's training really hard. And we hope he brings his wife down to the show as well in the studio, because we're going to talk about powerlifting, and we're going to talk about nutrition and eating and all these terrific things that a top-rated athlete needs to have. So we're going to be doing that with David and making that happen. He's got a brand new gym called, it's up in the Antelope Valley, and it's a terrific gym. You got to look it up. What you do is just Google search David Beast Douglas. I mean, the guy squats like over 900 pounds. Yes, I'm going to say that again. He squats over 900 pounds. That's a full squat with a rack on your back. So lock it out, Jim, right? Lock it out. That's lock it out barbells. Correct me if I'm wrong, David. And that way then we will be able to get the right information out. It's called Lock It Out. I'm thinking Lock It Out barbells. Yeah, I think I got that right. Anyhow, he's going to be in studio tomorrow. We're going to be talking about his brand new gym. And we're going to be talking about nutrition. His wife is a terrific nutritionist. She's got some of these great baked items and baked goods that are nutrition for your body, not just sweet, tasty things, but things that really your sweet, tasty body, baby, needs to absorb to perform at the optimum level. We're going to be doing some more sports and athletes here, because I think some of these folks, both men and women, they really have a focus on what they want to accomplish in their desire to accomplish something great. And in order to be great at anything in life, you have to have sort of this tunnel vision, but yet have a wide enough vision to be able to adapt and change to the environment. But athletes they're dedicated to their goal. They're very decisive on the things that they want to do. They're very disciplined people. I have a professional athlete as a daughter, Ryan Torrero. She's a professional athlete and a goalkeeper, one of the best in the world. In fact, we might be sending her, well, actually, she got a call from another European team to go play for them, as well as one of the teams here in America at the same time that is opening up in Utah. So professional athletes really have a focus. They understand what it takes to go from this point here to this point here, that leap that they have to go through. And if they're really, really involved in what they want to accomplish, like David Douglas at Lock It Out Gym and Barbells in the Antelope Valley, a new gym that he started, they really, when they get really focused, top athletes like that, it's really great to be around, because it's a purity. It's really, it's a sincere kind of childlike purity that it's so refreshing to be around because the brain and the body are not confused. Everything seems to be working in the right direction. Saying hi to a whole bunch of friends. Lisa Long on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. Also saying hi to Leah, Tay Anderson, Kevin Sterling. Thanks a lot, Kevin, for having us on. James Ambis, I hope I get that right. Thanks a lot, James, for having us on. Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero is growing like mad dogs and Englishmen. And also on our Google Plus, we're well over 1 million views of the Jesse T Show, with lots of views here on shares out on Facebook, as well as Instagram is growing. So we really appreciate, that help that you're giving us. But anyhow, we're going to be getting some great athletes coming on here. One of the people I'm trying to book is the goalkeeper coach for the 5-time world champion MLS Galaxy. His name is Ian Foyer, and Ian Foyer is probably one of the very best coaches as well in goalkeeping in the world. That simple. Saying hi to Delphi_Greek. Hey, Greek. Yeah, Delphi Greek is there. All right, thanks a lot. And Celestino is on Instagram Live. So we're rocking it up right here on the Jesse T Show. So, we do bring you lots of cool stuff. We go from the entertainment business to car shows to political stuff. We talk about open mind. Everybody has their own opinion about things, and we bring in the crew on Roundup Wound Up. On Wednesday, we're doing a new program called Road Trippin'. Dan the Man, the Road Dog King, and I kind of going out to some of these historical monument areas here in Los Angeles and California and telling you the stories about what really happened, The only way I know how to do it, and that's like act out all the players, right? So my stage is the world, Olivier said. And if you're going to entertain, you might as well entertain yourself, right? Because that's where it starts. And so we've got Ian Foyer. We're going to try to book him in. And he not only was a coach for Pepperdine, he's the coach for USC, but he played 10 or 12 years in the EPL. That is the very finest football playing in the world in England, the English Premier League, or the EPL, and he was one of the very best goalkeepers. I mean, the guy's like 6'8". David the Beast, benches 900 pounds and probably squats over 900 pounds, and deadlifts an incredible amount of weight and benches. Well, I saw him bench well over 600 pounds just recently in a training session. And Ian Foyer is like 6'8" and can jump like a gazelle. You see, athletes. But this generally is a given talent, but it's also a worked talent. It's like a diamond where they chop the coal, the pressure of the earth creates this diamond over lots of years. And that's why I dig interviewing top athletes. We've had Benny Ukitis on, Benny the Jet. We've had the great boxer Jeff Langton. We've had the great world champion martial artists. Many females and ladies on. We had Don the Dragon Wilson, and the list goes on. I just lose track. We did a terrific thing about Fearless Freddie Pendleton, one of the very best middleweights in the world. He would take Merriweather to the ground fast. He'd knock Merriweather's dad out. So, we love talking to athletes. But one of the things that we also like to do is cover current events. And if you are not in Southern California and you've been watching the news and your favorite channel or online or following what's happening right now in Southern California, there are 5 major fires, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, happening in a 5-county region. Now, there are 5 counties that make up California, Southern California. That's Los Angeles, Ventura, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Orange County. And we have 5 fires in, I believe, 5 counties. right now going on. The biggest is the one over in Ventura near the Pacific Ocean. And I just wanted to kind of give an update if you're watching the Jesse T show. The winds are starting to pick up. I did a couple of spots. I went out on my journeys today, all in a day of the life of Jesse T. I passed through the fire area in Cagle Canyon. That's Silmar. They're calling that the Creek Fire. And just some notes here. The Creek Fire has burned 11,000 acres, and that's over there by Handsome Dam in the northeastern section of the San Fernando Valley, folks. If you don't know where that's at, that's a suburb down from Los Angeles and Hollywood, about 35 miles kind of northeast of Los Angeles and Hollywood and Universal Studios. And so about 11,000. And the dangerous part about that, we have these winds that are called Santa Anas, and they come blowing down to the canyons. If you go online at facebook.com/Jesse Torrero, I did a report there, and you'll see me getting hit with these 60-plus mile-an-hour winds. It's unbelievable how they hit you, and they almost knock you down. You know, hurricane winds started about 74, 75 miles an hour. So I'm up there at this ridge looking at the eastern side of the fire, and I'm getting hit with these 50 to 65 mile an hour wind gusts. Almost blew me down, blew me over the ridge. I mean, I would have been like a flying Jesse T tumbling down the ridge. I would have went maybe 1,000 feet, because we're talking about the mountains that are burning here, and some of those mountains go up to about 10,000 feet here, but the plume of smoke is rising 9, 10, 11, 12,000 feet, and the wind is picking up. The wind always picks up at night here in the Santa Ana zone. That's the major wind coming down through the canyon from the high desert. It blows in here through the canyons and out to the ocean west of us, and it picks up those fires. And the reason why we're having a lot of fires, this doesn't seem to be a fire that was caused by arson. It's just the fact that we have so much tinder brush, so much fuel there, because we did not get any rain in September, October, or November. We usually have a couple of douses of rain, but we did not get any, and so the grass is growing and it's gotten very dry. And when these Santa Anas kick in, always around December, going into January, the rainiest part of our season, what happens is if there's no water in the ground or in these plants, they friction together, the wind picks it up, there's a spark that happens, and then it just goes like crazy. The wind carries it so fast. And that's kind of what took place overnight last night, not in just one area, but many areas. Out in Ventura, I used to work out there, and a lot of radio and TV out in that area, as well as I lived out there for a couple of years, and one of the colleges I went to was out there in Thousand Oaks, I call it Thousand Oaks, Cal Lutheran College. Anyway, the Ventura burn is over 50,000 acres now, 55,000 acre wildfire happening in Ventura, and it is just disastrous. They've had, last count I heard was about 300 houses that have burned. Actually, a hospital burned down in Ventura. A local community hospital burned down to the ground. They did evacuate 27,000 people out of the city of Ventura, because in Ventura, the ocean is sort of right here, the Pacific Ocean, and then you have this enclave out here that's called Oxnard, Ventura, and Santa Paula goes kind of up into the canyon, right? And it comes down here from this valley over here on this side, Fillmore, Santa Paula, and the Camarillo Highlands, all right? So Ventura kind of sits there at Channel Islands and goes out to the ocean, Pacific Ocean. So you have mountains on this side, you have mountains on this side, you have mountains on this side, all kind of congregating in this area of Ventura. And most of the population lives right down there in where all the farmland, where strawberries used to be grown and oranges and avocados. Now it's basically been all tore up. It was probably maybe only about 25% of the farmland left, really. But all these houses have been built. And so they abut right up to these mountains. And these mountains are Southern California mountains. They're certainly not like northeastern mountains where you have a lot of timber and you have a lot of vegetation and you have a lot of water. No, the mountains here in Southern California are very dry. They're almost like desert mountains in a lot of ways, because actually Southern California is a reclaimed desert. Really, all the green stuff you see around here, it's because we humans have planted it and watered it over the last 200 years, 150 years that California has been doing what it's doing. But nevertheless, so the fire is being pushed by these Santa Ana winds that are pushing the creek fire I just talked about in Cagle Canyon. These little embers, like little firebugs, fly in the air, and they get onto these trees and this brush, and they get under the eaves of the houses, and they just go boom. Literally, I've covered fires. I'm going to be out there tomorrow covering more in depthly these fires. Probably head out to Ventura if I can get out there. It's about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes west of me, where my location is right now in the Burbank area. But nevertheless, what we have here, the fires, they literally explode like bombs. The trees explode. And when these trees explode, all these little fire embers float in the air, and that 60-mile-an-hour wind just carries those things. It doesn't blow them out. You would think the wind would blow it out, but it doesn't. It actually ignites those embers and makes them burn hotter because of the oxygen, and it makes that heat burn hotter. And when that fuel is all filled up, that's when it goes out. But that fuel, before it goes out, usually hits another tree, another house, another bush, another mountaintop, and it continues on the cycle. And that's what the firefighters are fighting. Saying hi to Mark Morales, saying hi to Lisa French. Hey, Lisa French. We met Lisa French out at a terrific showing this Saturday. We'll talk about it. Also saying hi to Michael Jones and Tay Anderson, who has us on. Yeah, the fires here in Southern California are really scary, because unlike fires back east or in the Midwest, they move very, very fast here because of those Santa Ana winds that we get here specifically in Southern California. And it's, when you think about it, the fires are just doing what the fires have done naturally for 1 billion years. So the Southern California area amongst the natives was known as the valleys of smoke. And the reason why it was known as the valleys of smoke way before Europeans came here, because the valley mountains always caught on fire. It wasn't so much that the dust was being blown up in the air by the winds, it was that the mountains always caught on fire. And there were no firefighters and helicopters and big giant planes dropping water at that time, so they just burned to the ocean most of the time. And I do remember many times the fires starting there in Sylmar, burning all the mountaintops right to the ocean, the Pacific Ocean and Malibu. Specifically, I remember 1981, 81, when the houses in Malibu at the Malibu colony blew up and went on fire because the fire started. The fire started 80 miles away and traveled to the mountaintops all the way, and they didn't have as many houses up on these hilltops like they have now. So this is why we have more housing damage than we ever had before. It's not so much that the fires are worse, it's that we have encroached upon what normally burns naturally and always has for millions and millions of years. And that's really the basis of the problem, because we create and build structures, and then what happens, that adds fuel to what is already going to burn anyway. And this is short of course, somebody starting arson in that respect. So when you start understanding how fire works here in Southern California, it is scary, because it's something that will inevitably happen. See, I live in the flatland most of the time. I do have ranches in the highland areas, but most of the special things that our family has is in safes that are very, very fire retardant. I mean, they can burn 10,000, 5,000 degrees. And these fires burn. They melt everything in their path, everything. They burn stucco. They burn metal. They melt metal because there's so much fuel adding to that fire. So like Lisa French says, it's very, very, very scary situation when you're facing this kind of stuff. And many times I have on many occasions, I have had the opportunity to work different fires and to work these areas where fires were happening. and help people get their equine animals out, their equestrian animals. And right now, all the equestrian centers are filled up with so many horses and cows and pigs and goats and all the animals that people have. Pierce College is filled up, Handsome Dam is, Lakeview Terrace is filled up. There are people now that have acres of land. They're saying, come on over here. We're in a flat industrial area. Put your horses here and that kind of stuff. So all of that is there's a lot of dynamic going on here, but I wanted to talk about that. They don't even have any containment on any of this stuff right now. There's fires in San Bernardino. That's about 70 miles east of us. There's fires in Santa Clarita where the Sand Canyon fire burned a year ago, 35,000 acres, and burned up a whole bunch of houses. So there's fires going on there, about 5,000 acres. In Thousand Oaks, there's fires. So we're having everything happen all at once. In Ventura, there's still got people that they are evacuation warnings as well. So I just wanted to cover a little bit about that, the first part of the show, because for us here in Southern California, folks, it's really an important thing. Contact the Ventura County Police Department, Sheriff's Department, and the Police Department. The Fire Department. They have hotlines up and ready to go. Just Google search that. LAPD, Los Angeles PD, LA City and LA County Fire Department, San Bernardino Fire Department. Contact these, San Bernardino County, that is, LA Forestry, United States Forest Ranger Service. They all have hotlines that are up and ready that you can manage and watch what's going on so you can make the appropriate decisions. Paul Robinson is on, and he's watching. Thanks a lot, Paul. I appreciate you checking in. We're talking a little bit about the fire situation before we start talking about anything else today. Now, remember, Thursday, David the Beast Douglas from Lock It Out Gym in the AV. He's going to be coming down to our studios here in Sony, near Sony Studios. He's one of the very finest power lifters and just a great guy, man. He's so knowledgeable about weightlifting and athletics and how to get strong. And he's bringing, hopefully his wife is coming down because she's the master cook. She's the one that feeds him all that good food, that good nutritious food, because if you want to be healthy in life, so goes your life, so goes what you eat and drink. It's very important. I drink nothing as much as I can, alkaline water. I'm getting a little heavy on lemonades. I got to kind of get rid of that because I'm absorbing a little too much sugar lately. I try to eat a vegetable-based diet with chicken and a little bit of steak, but not too much because meat doesn't go well with me. So anyway, David the Beast Douglas is going to be checking. You might want to check out his website. And David, if you're still on with us, let me know what that website is. I believe it's www.David the Beast Douglas. David Beast Douglas, I believe so. You can Google search David the Beast Douglas, and you'll pop it up. YouTube search him, and you'll see him just move these ungodly amounts of weight, like squatting over 900. I've seen him bench press well over 6. So he's getting ready for LA Fit Expo. So I'm really excited about that because it's going to be the first powerlifter that we've ever had on the Jesse T Show. All right, so let's kind of talk about what's going on here. And I didn't have a guest today for a lot of reasons. Sometimes I like to, just go solo with you and me because I got to get some things off my chest, and sometimes it's a good thing to just go solo once in a while. Just one more programming reminder. Tomorrow it's Roundup Wound Up with David Shark Freilich, the man with the forever tan, Michelangelo, and Dan the Man, the Road Dog King. And yours truly, the Brown Beauty on Duty, Jesse T, and the King of Tech, Lee Baby Michaels. We're going to be talking the issues of the day, and we have a special guest. A lady is going to be checking in. I'll be posting that up in her IMDb site. And boy, this lady's, she got a wallet, man. She's got an opinion about everything, and I love that. She's gonna mix it up with the boys, and let me tell you, she can stand her own. Saying hi to Gordon Lafferty. Hey, Gordon, What you doing, buddy? Hey, man, it's good to have you along with us. Gordon Lafferty. Was there a song? No, I was thinking of Rafferty, right? I was thinking of that. Yeah, that's right. No, Gordon Lafferty. All of a sudden, I thought I was going to be a groupie, Gordon, for a second there. All right, let's go see and talk about a few things that are just driving Jesse T crazy. Because, sometimes things do drive me a little bonkers. So we're going to go a little bit political here for a second and have a little bit of fun for 5 or 10 minutes here. Well, we're not going to go necessarily completely political all the time, but we're going to just kind of chat about some stuff here that has been bothering me a little bit. A lot of times I encourage you to go to a page I have on Facebook, and it's not my page that we're broadcasting on here from this timeline. It's a page that I call Straight on the Point. And you'll see a lot of things there that you won't necessarily see on my timeline page. I use this page, Straight on the Point, sort of as a collection point for my topics and information. It's sort of like my bibliography, my collection point of information that I constantly am sending there. And you'll kind of get an idea of the eclecticness of my crazy mind and in that respect. But you're going to see a lot of different topics covered there, and everything that might be controversial, might be a little bit maybe off kilter a little bit, because I never said that Jesse T was always, thinking the way the rest of the public thinks, that's for sure. Not necessarily so. But there's some things there I want to chat about here in just a moment. But first, I do want to talk about something that we did this last weekend, and my buddy Larry Cohen. You can see this poster right here, and that's Larry Cohen, everybody. Larry Cohen is probably one of the most industrious writer, director, producers of TV shows and films that you would have ever met. There are so many movies on TV and so many TV shows that he was the writer and director for. It's almost just a who's who of my lifetime, watching all the Larry Cohen productions. And I didn't even know it was him. And then all the films he's done, it's really unbelievable. And this movie here called King Cohen, it's about his crazy, wild, maverick lifestyle. This is the guy who was the king and the developer of guerrilla filmmaking, guys. This guy's unbelievable. The kind of stuff that he did that you can't get away with today in guerrilla filmmaking. And I encourage you to check it out. Go online, Larry Cohen, and look for King Cohen. It's coming soon to a theater near you. We got to see the West Coast premiere. Just fantastic. I mean, people that are in this documentary about Larry, J.J. Abrams, Barbara Carrera. Oh, whoo! Remember Barbara Carrera? Robert Forster, the great actor. Robert Forster, John Landis, the great director. We can't forget about Scorsese's in this. The terrific Lorene Landon is in this. What a terrific actor she is. She's been in so many great things. We've had her on the show. Eric Bossayan, Rick Baker. Nick Garris. Nick Garris is probably just one of the most terrific, talented guys in the filmmaking business. And the list goes on. Eric Roberts is in this. Fred Williamson, the Hammer. James Brown. I mean, everybody is in this. And I didn't know that Larry was one of the primary guys of those black exploitation films of the 70s. They really got going after Enter the Dragon and Jim Kelly, who was my favorite martial artist on TV in films. I loved Jim Kelly. I loved him more than Bruce Lee. Not to say he was any better or worse. I just loved his dramatics. I loved Jim Kelly. Anyhow, I didn't know that Larry Cohen was one of the primary guys that gave black men and women great jobs. I mean, if he was a good script and he didn't care and had a good story, and that's kind of the purity of his soul. What a great guy, Larry Cohen. So check it out. We had a chance to see that play. I appreciate Lorraine Landon and Larry Cohen for having me out. I posted up those interviews on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. So they're all there. Saying hi to Yakashura Kayama. Yobisuke Katayama. Yobisuke. Every time I've gone to Japan, I bastardize their names terribly, so I apologize. I kill them. I kill those names. Something that's been bugging me, and I haven't talked about it too much, so I'm going to jump right into it. This scumbag, lowlife, good-for-nothing piece of crap that killed that beautiful young lady, we're talking about up in San Francisco. Kate, who killed her because he was a drunk driver and he'd been deported 5 times. This scumbag, lowlife piece of crap, the San Francisco left-wing lunatic liberal retards, the jury pool let this guy go. Can you imagine? They found him, not that they found him not guilty. They, with this 2-bit piece of horse dung, buffalo manure, scummy, rat, stinky Wolverine piece of lard attorney this guy had. They blame the gun for shooting Kate. I'm going to blow her name. Steinel? They blamed the gun. They blamed the gun. Somehow, this crazy, wacky attorney, somebody ought to throw his ass in jail. Somehow, they blamed, he was able to get this stupid jury pool to believe that the gun killed Kate. Now, can you imagine? He got the jury pool the jury to separate the gun from the guy. The guy shot Kate 3 times, and she died in her father's arms. And the last words that she said was, "Dad, help me." I'm sorry. I killed that son of a bitch right there. I would have killed that son of a bitch right there, whether he had a gun or not. Sometimes things really bother me. And when they bother me, I become vengeance. I become the revenge seeker. This is why we need to raise the wall. My father always said, it's better to have something and not use it than to need something and not have it. We need to raise the wall to keep scumbag pieces of dirt. There aren't words. This guy got deported 5 times. And the DOJ arrested him, right? FBI arrested him. And they're going to deport him. Do you think for 1 second this ass is not going to sneak back into this country and probably kill somebody else? But where do the people in San Francisco, did they not? I can't believe that there are men, forget women, I love you, but I'm going to talk from a man's point of view. You pussy-ass wussies in San Francisco, you piece of fat, balding head pussies. I can't believe you pasty-faced, pillbury, doughboy pieces of crap. I cannot believe that you would allow some scumbag who shot that girl and she died in her father's arms. Just put yourself in that place. What if your daughter died in your arms? Right there. Died. At the hand of another man. With a gun. What would you do? Run to the freaking sheriffs? Cry? There's time for crying later. I'd take 50 shots, but he and I are going they were on the dock. He and I are going into the ocean and drowning to the bottom of the water together, and I'll fight his ass in hell in Lucifer's prison forever and ever and ever and ever, and I'll go to hell. I don't care. If there is such a thing. Than to live in the shame and the guilt that you didn't do something. I don't understand what's happened to the men in our society. I just don't get it. I'm 57 years old, guys. Hey, I'm not Charlie Bronson or the remake of the movie that's coming out with Bruce Willis, Vigilante. I'm not saying that. But what happened to you men? What happened to you men? What happened to you in the last 50 to 60 years? Do you have no balls? See, Tom Brokaw wrote a book, okay? And I'm rereading this book. And I'm not a big Tom Brokaw fan, but this is one of the finest books I've ever read in my lifetime. Tom Brokaw, The Greatest Generation. Tom Brokaw, The Greatest Generation. I'm rereading this book again because The Greatest Generation has not been mine. Mine has been the biggest pussy generation that's ever lived. We've allowed our country to be destroyed by the banks, by the corporations. We've allowed our country to be destroyed. We've allowed our country to be destroyed by the politicians and the political correctness. We've allowed our country to be destroyed by those evil people that want to kill us all and destroy this great nation. Not this generation. The greatest generation. Coming out of the Depression. They said, oh, Japan, you nips. And I don't care if I piss you off. Because that's what they were called. Reflecting back on the time. I don't care. You bomb our boys in Pearl Harbor, December 7th. The day that will live in infamy is a few days away. The 9th is Saturday. The 8th is Friday. Thursday is December 7th, 1941. The greatest generation came together and said, no more. You have to pay, and we're going to pay, and you're going to pay dearly for what you did to our boys at Pearl Harbor. Now, whether or not you think that Pearl Harbor was created by FDR, I have a lot of words on that, okay? Whether or not you believe that that was just an economic and positioning that our government did in order to get us into the war, to get us out of the Depression so people would go back to work? Because his alphabet soup ideas wasn't working? Let's just put that aside for a second, because I can speak about that for hours and hours and hours. But the bottom line is, the men and women of that generation rose to the occasion of their country, and they kicked ass and asked questions later. Oh, you don't want to give yourself up, Japan? Then we're going to bomb your friggin' island into the 10th century. And then we're going to nuke your ass, and we'll keep nuking you until you give up. Hey, look it. I'll tell you what. General MacArthur said, our enemy at the end of World War II is the Chinese. He wanted to take it all the way to Peking. Now it's known as Beijing. General George C. Patton, my favorite warrior general, said our greatest enemy is the friggin' Ruskies. Well, duh. Communist Russians? Dirty red-nosed rat-faced Ruskies? I love George C. Scott and Dr. Strangelove. You can't let those Ruskies, the big board. You got to watch Dr. Strangelove. Great movie. But he wanted to take the remnants of the German army, who hated the Russians, and we did too, and take 6 or 8 million of us and go all the way to Stalingrad, go all the way to Moscow. They killed him for that. They retired MacArthur. Truman did that. Why? Look at the greatest generation came back after World War II. They built the middle class in this country, guys. They built the middle class that you and I and people up to 73 years old were raised in and lived in. The baby boom generation. And our children and the little babies being born today. They don't even know anything about our history. Black Lives Matter. That's all that matters to those asses. Biggest terrorist organization like the KKK, for God's sakes. Do you know that black men and white men fought together and shared blood and died together in the foxholes and the skies and the ships around the world during World War II? It didn't matter. In a foxhole, there ain't no atheists, and in a foxhole, color doesn't matter. They came back and they got an education. And they bought a house. And they bought an American-made vehicle. American-made. What? Where did we let our goods and services go across the world and become made by somebody? Slave labor camps. You want to know who did that? The 5 major corporations that own everything. You think your water is owned by you? The Nestle Corporation is buying up water rights around the friggin' world. And the Nestle Corporation CEOs basically said a few months ago, hey, you think water is a right? It's not a right for human beings. The CEO of Nestle said that. You just look it up. Don't you get tired of taking it right there, guys? Where the sun don't shine? Aren't you sick and tired of it? You have the biggest pacifist, destructive president we've ever had in this country, Obama, for 8 years, bows down to potentates and kings around the world. Only cares about things that he cares about. I never saw him go to one Latin protester's funeral, one Asian's protester's funeral. I think he's the biggest racist, hate-mongering president we ever had. Then you have the most evil, satanic presidents we've ever had in the history of America, the Bushies. They got to be the most disgusting, delusional, evil, satanic, Luciferian, oligarchian presidents that whole Bushy family. They murdered 3,000 people in New York. They murdered people in Iraq for what? Did you know that Bushies got their money from Union Bank because Prescott Bush was the one that started Union Bank before World War II? Did you know that? Did you know that he got his ass in trouble and FDR had to pull Union Bank from him because he was laundering money for the goddamn Nazis? Yeah. Bushy's grandfather. And then after the war, FDR said, we'll give you your bank back. And he did. Come on, people. Think for some reality, brothers. The baby boom generation has let this country get away from us. Clinton, all he wanted to do was get laid and get a blowjob. That's all he was interested in. And his lesbian Hillary wife, did you know that she had lesbian, I don't care if you're a lesbian, but then be a friggin' lesbian and be proud of it. If you're going to be gay and be friggin' proud of it. Tell the world. Don't hide behind this illusion, this delusional illusion. Hey, if you don't like Chevys, don't buy one. See, the problem is, yeah, the Clintons, you can take them all the way back to Arkansas. I can just rattle off stuff about the people they've killed or have died on. Seems like everybody dies around them that they don't like. Come on, do you think that you would not be arrested if you lied to the FBI once? Come on, people. She lied multiple times. A billionaire woman was arrested. Martha Stewart. She spent 3 years in jail. A billionaire woman. Martha Stewart was arrested, incarcerated in jail for lying one time to the FBI. But this little smug piece of crap person sits there, right? She reminds me of the Wicked Witch from the East or West, the one that's riding the bicycle when Dorothy's up in the tornado, you know, and it lands on her. I wish the house would land on them. Worst president, worst Secretary of State. Because all they cared about was themselves, greedy, self-righteous, selfish people. Reagan lost his mind in the last couple of years of his presidency. He died of Alzheimer's disease. He had dementia. He lost his mind in the last 6 months, 8 months of the year of his presidency. He did some things that were atrocious for this country in the last year of his presidency. He just wasn't there. Nancy Reagan was running the friggin' White House, just like Eleanor Roosevelt was running the White House when Franklin Delano Roosevelt was sick. Know your history. LBJ sold out to the mass corporations. The only reason why he created the Great Society, because he wanted the Southern black vote. He actually didn't want the Southern black vote. He wanted the Southern white vote. So he created the Great Society and the welfare state. And do you know that most of the freaking people that are on welfare in this country are white? We need to get their ass back in work. Or cut the money out. See, you people just aren't ready for a guy like Trump. You aren't ready for what's called tough love. You aren't ready to face the reality that you've had a pussy lifestyle for 50 years in this country. Now you got to fess up to it. You realize the great things he's done? They're not going to find any conspiracy anywhere. If they did, they would have already found it. Come on. No president has ever gone down for obstruction of justice. There's no conspiracy anywhere. It's a friggin' witch hunt because Mueller is the most corrupt FBI man and most corrupt attorney that you could ever imagine. He's stacked the deck with Clintonites. Comey, Mueller, all those people. Look at all those people who are going to jail now. Don't get me going on that, please. When are you going to be the greatest generation, people? When are you going to decide to be the greatest generation again? When is that going to happen in America again? When? When are you going to quit passing the buck? When are you going to quit pointing your finger and you got 3 fingers pointing back at yourself? When are you going to take responsibility and accountability? If you ain't got a job, go sell oranges by the side of the frickin' freeway until you got a job. When are you going to be responsible and quit blaming everybody else? When are you going to fire your psychiatrist and your psychotherapist and say, hey, get away from me. Go get a job. One of the greatest oratory motivational speakers of all time. All time. Look him up. Google search him. Not who you think. Look him up. Okay, I'm going to tell you his name. Charlie Tremendous Jones. Probably the great godfather of oratory and motivational speaking. Charlie Tremendous Jones. You know what he said? When life sucks and life is bad and you're breaking up with your lover, you're breaking up with your husband, your wife, your kids hate you. You ain't got no money. You're walking to work in the snow. You got no food. When the IRS is chasing you and the state is coming after you and you can't pay your parking tickets and you broke your arm but you can't go to the doctor because you don't have any money to get it fixed. You're living out in the cold underneath a pine tree when life is the worst it could possibly be for you. Go and get a job. Work. Work. The greatest Lixor, the greatest healer of all things for man and mankind. Work. Even if you gotta sweep the streets, pick up the horse poo, paint somebody's mailbox, get a job. Work. Work solves everything. All the work solves everything. It heals everything. Work. Work at something. Even if it's nothing, work. Get a broom. Go to somebody's shop and sweep his sidewalk off. Every day. Maybe he'll give you $1. You do that, you got $20. Work. Find a job. Work. Get a job somewhere. Go cut some forest trees down. Cut some work. Do anything. Work. Charlie Tremendous Jones. His greatest impassioned thought was, when all is failing in life, go to work. That's all it is. Don't sit on your big, fat, black, brown, white, Asian ass. Hell, I don't even know what I am. I'm Italian, Spanish, Scot, Irish, French, German, native. For all I know, I'm from Saturn, Neptune, and somebody's Uranus. I hope it's not Uranus I'm from. Work. I have a challenge. Like Martin Luther King had a dream, I got a challenge. And my challenge is to every one of you today. Stand up for this country. Understand, if this country fails, you are going to have a change of life you will not like. This is the greatest, last shining city on the hill. Put the scumbags behind bars. Get off the political correctness wagon. Fight for what's right. And become the greatest generation again. The Jesse T Show, Monday through Friday. The Beast, David the Beast Douglas on Thursday. Roundup, Wound Up tomorrow. The World According to Torrero. Now you're boom, straight on the point. Let's send our prayers up for those folks involved in the fire because they need it. Whew, man, scary. God bless you. God bless your family. And God bless America. And like Donald Trump says, Merry Christmas. Love you. See ya. The Brown Beauty's off duty.